Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Conversation of Truths. I am Ryan Dunston. Patrice Dunston is not here with me this week. She desperately did want to be here, but she does have some other engagements she had to, give her attention to. But I do have here with me Miss Candace White with Candy Coated Secrets. She does a talk show, Candy Coated Secrets talk show on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. And she also does the Speak Easy show on Monday nights at 9 p.m. with myself, which, shameless plug, we do really well on together. And she has a unique perspective. But we wanted to, have a conversation today about success, right? Or at least our version of it. Candace has gotten some great stuff done with her talk show, working towards, I guess, a network, right? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, just working towards my network. I want to have my building, my studio, to have people come out and watch the show and do all of that. I want a whole channel, just everything.
Yeah, listen, we want it all, right? But there's the success is an illusion to, and I'll explain, right, as to why I make that comment. But the topic of today's conversation is the real version of success from the personal and business perspective. Main reason why is because I think a great deal of us are climbing towards success, or whatever your version of it is anyway. And with this being trivia inspirational radio, I figured the two things, coincided, right? Mainly because sometimes you need inspiration along the journey.
Yeah.
All that you've built and you're not done.
Right.
I think you would say that I'm probably right in the beginning stages of who I'm really going to be.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Would you say that? Would you agree to that?
About you?
No, you.
Yeah. I'm just getting started.
Right. I would say the same thing about myself.
Yeah.
I'm just getting started. I'm just starting to find out what I can do, what my superpowers are, and all of that good stuff. But it's a process.
Yeah, it is.
It's a real process that most people don't get a chance to take a look at. And that's where I wanted to kind of shed some light.
Yeah.
With Candy Coated Secrets.
Yeah.
You started this back in
2018.
All right. Right before COVID.
Yeah, right before COVID. Yep. July 17th, 2018.
Now you were not looking for COVID to start.
No.
But you started right before COVID started.
I didn't even think about it that way.
Right. And I want to talk about the sheer timing of it.
Okay.
How long had you been contemplating your dream before you decided to just jump right in and say
the same year?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like how long?
When I activated in July. When I activated in July 17th, 2018, I knew I wanted to, I wanted a show. Mm-hmm. I started out trying to do the podcast thing, but I'm like, no, I need to be seen. So it was like, because it's also Candy Coated Secrets, it's also a Facebook group. Mm-hmm. So it started off with me just having the group, and I would talk online and stuff through Snapchat and all of that. And then I originally what led to this, I used to use it as a form to communicate with my nephew. So my nephew didn't live with me. My nephew is my best friend. So I used to talk to him and make funny videos through Snapchat. And then he always was like, no, go ahead and do this. And he made me a YouTube channel. So I started off not really knowing what I wanted it to look like or how it was going to go. Mm-hmm. I changed the name 100 times. And then I just, Candy Coated Secrets 2018. I just kept on with it.
All right. So now, because COVID lined up with what you were trying to do, right? This online presence.
Yeah.
People were home all, anyway.
Yeah.
And it just kind of went together, right? Yeah. Like just timing is everything, mind you. But how important is action?
Action is very important. You need action.
Because it's excuse me, I got a little bit of cough here. But you being in COVID, no, you good. You're fine. But you being in COVID, doing this right where, everyone's in the front of their screens because they can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a pretty intimidating, time to start a business, and,
yeah.
And even to be honest with you, trivia, the mind behind this radio station here did similar, parallel journeys to yours and mine, okay. Honestly. But talk about the doubt. Because you had to come, if you're anything like me, right?
Yeah.
And we all deal with self-sabotaging,
Yeah.
Right?
We're our own worst enemies.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the thoughts, the negative thoughts that started to come in and combat the positive ones about your journey.
Before COVID or during COVID or just in general?
In the middle, excuse me.
The whole process?
Of that middle, of that mess.
So, during COVID, I'm glad to say COVID didn't affect my show. I did my show all year, every year, never stopped. Only took a break my first year. But the self-doubting comes in when, as a creative person, you're naturally harder on yourself than anybody else. So everybody else can tell you you're great, but if you don't feel like you're great or you don't believe you're great, then it doesn't matter. If you aren't seeing,
why doesn't it matter? Real quick, let's pause right there. Why doesn't it matter?
Because you are what you attract. So you are what you attract, and your thinking plays a big part on that. So you have to change your mindset. In order to do something that you've never done, you have to become someone you've never been. So when you have to do that and go through that transition and that mindset, it's hard. It's hard. It's difficult.
It's traumatic.
Yeah, it is. It's like a constant battle. It's a constant battle with yourself, and naturally we can get complacent. We can get discouraged. You can look at other people that may be doing what you're doing, and you start to measure where you are with yours, and you can lose focus. And that just what you feed your brain while in that process, and what you tell yourself during the entire process is really what takes a toll with your self-doubting. So you really are self-sabotaging yourself.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, and you don't know you're in one at first, right? Because you're just reacting to the thoughts, right? Instead of casting them down or throwing them in a box or whatever your therapeutic tendency is to deal with that madness. But you're just reacting to the things that you're starting to see in your head, right? And you're responding to these thoughts. And sometimes you can internalize these thoughts, right? Because we all have a tendency to think negatively because of the past that we come from. But when we give these thoughts food, and we start power. And we start to allow these thoughts to run around and obtain real estate in our heads, and it definitely impacts how we feel, and how we feel impacts our effort. And I'm gonna tell you how I've fought with that often. My podcast, personal podcast, the Ryan Dunston podcast, shameless plug, Words from a Humble King. I'm from a positive perspective. Trivia Inspirational Radio. I've had a conversation with her about this as well, right? But from a positive perspective, positive is not popular. I've spoken to you about this.
Yeah, I wish you stopped saying that.
But it ain't popular. And the thing is, you can get caught up in the mindset of people don't want to hear this positive.
Okay.
Even though it is still needed, and even though you still have something to say, just like the response you just gave me a little bit. But honestly, people do not, it's like people don't have space for popular. So it makes you feel subconscious because you feel like you do have something to say. Right? You feel like there are gold gems to throw out because what we are starting to get to, right, in terms of our career or our dreams, right? We are starting to overcome some of the cycles and hurdles and obstacles that are in the way. So when I come from a positive perspective, instead of drilling you with the marketing techniques to keep you
to check the triggers,
right? The clickbaits, the videos that get your negative point of view to pay attention. I mean, your negative you to pay attention, as opposed to the other you to come up. The you that's going to be there once you get ready to make these changes. You can't lean on crazy videos when you're trying to make this change. That's where my content comes in. Right? But people are not trying to hear that every day. Right? And that's the honest truth.
Well, even when you go through something, and somebody is being positive, sometimes I know for me, I'm guilty of it. Like when my life coach and she tells me, I'm like, this is what's going on, and she's like, well, hold on, that's not loving. Pray about it. And I'm like, I don't feel like hearing that right now. So I think, naturally we all do that. When you're going through something, you don't always want to hear from positive Patty. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to just sulk in the moment. We like to play the victim for a little bit or things like that, which is all a natural response. You know what I mean? But, you have to always have that positive and flow with the current of a solution versus, the negative and self-doubt, which is going against the current. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's going to create all that resistance, all that hesitation. And then your journey is going to take a mile. You know what I mean? And when it could have taken 2 minutes.
So let me ask you this, right? Let's take a little bit of a spin. And again, conversation of truths with Ryan Dunston and Patrice Dunston, but I have here Miss Candace White from Candy Coated Secrets with me on Trivia Inspirational Radio. But I wanted to take a spin here and talk about the effect that your grind has on your personal life.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, for me, you know, me and Patrice, everyone knows who tunes in, we're married.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been together off and on for about 16 years now, right? And this climb, and you know, ultimately, you're in a battle with yourself. We just talked about the self-sabotage. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then it's hard to notice your significant other while you're in this kind of a climb, this kind of a grind.
Yeah.
To whatever success is.
Yeah.
From a marital perspective, you constantly have to continue to date, right? Putting your spouse on your schedule and like not get consumed, which is easy. It's very easy to do, specifically when you haven't had a father.
Okay.
And right, your household has been broken and you've never been given structure. You've never been given authority. So you don't know how to quite compartmentalize here in these days. So I'm everywhere.
Okay.
All right. Still figuring out how to try to work a calendar. Forgive me. Still trying to figure out how to keep things into perspective and organized. Forgive me. Mm-hmm. Still trying to, you know, manage me.
Yeah.
You know, which is tough to do. Now, sometimes I do, man. I forget about my wife. I don't come in the house. The first thing I'm thinking about is not how you doing? Sometimes she has to tell me, like, did you see me? Yeah. Or did you acknowledge me before I left the house?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, it's not that I'm not thinking about her. It's just that, like, I'm thinking about my day. Okay. I'm thinking about getting ready for whatever it is on my plate to accomplish for that day, right? Yeah. Now, it's the collateral damage that we don't always notice, but we all have to go through. And any person that has attained any kind of success, you've had to sacrifice in some kind of way. Well, sometimes my marriage life takes a hit. Okay. Right. And I'm sure my kids is too, right? And I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect. Right. But from a single perspective, does that take a hit on the dating scene?
I didn't start off single. So that, you know what I mean? So okay. I've gotten to deal with a lot of it. So I
didn't kind of had the best of both.
Yeah, I've had the best of all the daggone worlds, you know. I didn't start off single. When I started off, I was engaged. And then that ended, and I remember that like yesterday, because the same time that the engagement ended, I had to go and do my show. So you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, the show must go on. I'll deal with this later. Mm-hmm. But I've dated during the time of while doing my show. And so I did experience with one person, which you were talking about, like I came in a house and they were like, they felt ignored, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm still a person. I was like, we have us, you have you, mm-hmm. and I have me. So I'm cool with us, but I still have to be me. So if I come in a house and, I give you a kiss and then I go in the room, like I like to stay in my room a lot, but I learned that affects a certain type of individual, because then the last guy I talked to, he didn't care about any of that, So from a single standpoint, now it's just my business is my focus. It doesn't mean that, relationships aren't important to me, but, life has shown us that life goes on. Yeah. With whatever way the dart is thrown, it's going to go on. And I have to go on because, doing breakups or situations, so many things, when life comes at you, it'll stop you and discourage you or make you not want to do anything. So I can't allow the breakup to affect me, but so much, because I still have a job to do. Yeah. On top of still showing up for my business, I have to show up for my daughter. And most importantly, I have to show up for me, So
what do you do with those emotions? Because they gotta be there. They gotta be there.
I mean, what kind of emotion though? Like, do I get lonely or something,
or just hurt? Like maneuvering through your hurt, like being able to operate in the chaos.
Oh yeah, I'm big on. I meditate, because I'm also a life coach too. So when you
sorry, I didn't mention that.
Yeah, it's fine. So I'm also a life coach too, and with anything that you do, you have to be your first best person, your first best customer, your first best student. So that's why I have to take what I say and I have to practice what I preach. And on top of that, I also have a life coach as well. So those feelings, those emotions are there, and I cry about it. And it's okay to be upset, but thought, like you said, we said earlier, thoughts are important.
Yes.
So, and I know for me, I cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought, because once you get your negative thoughts, I'm into the laws of attraction. I teach law of life attraction, laws of attraction, all of that. So once you send off those signals into the universe, it's going to give you back the same energy you're putting out. So I don't want to keep putting out sad and depressed signals and being sad, because next thing I know, somebody else might come in with some bad news, or I may begin to slip and fall at work, you know what I mean, and fall off with what I need to take care of, or me and my daughter may be on having an outing, or my mother may call me, and it's just like all of these things. It's like when you get onto that negative and you're down, all of your triggers will come. So the point is to get ahead of them before they come, so you can stop the momentum, because the momentum is already started, because I'm already feeling sad. Right. So it's okay to feel sad, and it's okay to be down, but I cannot stay there, because I know what it looks like for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, no, like if you do this, the consequence of will be greater than.
Because I do feel like I have a huge heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll go ahead and if I let it affect me, because my 17.5-year relationship ended, and I let that affect me. And that came with, I had a mental breakdown, you know what I mean?
17 years.
Yeah, but I should have left him at 5 years. But I didn't know that then. But as I grew and stuff like that, so that came with, I had a mental breakdown. That came with, me, smothering the pain with alcohol. That came with me smoking weed to smother that, and then it just was like, I'm just numbing. And it was like the weed wasn't working, and the wine wasn't working, and the liquor wasn't working. And it's like, dang, I'm doing all this, and I'm still over here in this bathtub crying and came Michelle. You know what I mean? So it was like, this is not working. So then that's when I was like, my life coach, she pumped me through it and was holding my hand all the way through it. And had to get me through that. And in that moment of going through that pain, that chaos, it birthed one of the greatest things that I've ever done. And that is my Candy Coated Secrets talk show. I've been doing it for 4 years now. Mm-hmm. So, through pain, you can find your purpose. So I just don't like to stay there and stay in it, but I do feel. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge compartmentalizer. I can do that very well. That is like my area of expertise. But when I need to deal with it, I definitely deal with it, because what you don't bury, what you don't heal, and what you bury alive, and it manifests and it grows roots. And then it'll come back even worse. Yeah. So you have to confront them and confront the pain, acknowledge the pain, don't dismiss the pain, and get through the pain.
Yeah, it's so hard to do when you're in the middle of that kind of pain.
You can't see,
because it's all relative too. So you can't just tell someone, you can't just talk somebody out of that situation.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that was Monkey. And and very, very, your vision got distorted in that area. But to those who are listening in that's thinking about that one thing that they decided to start, there's 3 things here I want you to acknowledge. Number 1, right? First thing is you need to start. You got to act. It has to be action, right? Mm-hmm. And without faith without works, it's all dead, right? And you can hope, you can dream about it, but if you don't go ahead and take some steps toward it, it's just never going to happen. Number 2, and you started this thing in the middle of COVID, right on the back end of a 17-year breakup. And through your doubts,
ended engagement,
through your self-inflicted, so it's like through self-inflicted wounds as well, mm-hmm. which we all do have a tendency to do to ourselves while trying to overcome the or at least me personally anyway, this imposter syndrome that you do beef with sometimes, right? And then the third thing is the bad times that she experienced, the dark times that she experienced, she didn't stay.
Yeah.
She didn't acknowledge, she did not say that she did not feel it. Mm-mm. She just didn't let it stop her progression.
Nope.
She didn't let it stop her tasks. And I'm pretty sure there were days there where you were like, man.
Realistically, because I feel like, from what we see, like you said, positive isn't popular, and I hate when you say that. So, But I did it my third year. I was about to quit. During my third year, I had that one moment that was like down in the dump, and I was like, I'm done with this. I'm just going to keep the Facebook group. I'm not even going to do the show anymore. And so it did come, and I was like, whew. So it's like, that's why it's important to have people around you that are positive, that can lift you up, even when you can't. And one of my friends, my life coach, she do what she does, everybody. But I remember one time, one of my friends, he stayed on the phone with me because he himself is a very successful entrepreneur with his business. And he stayed on the phone with me, and he just poured and pumped me, and poured me and pumped me like, I was there where you are now, look at me. And it's not easy. It'll get easier. Come on, man, you doing all this, you got it, you can't. So just like you can't believe. So every time that I did have a moment where I was like, I'm not going to do this, God sent somebody. They'll send me a text saying, you're doing a great job, or I enjoyed the show, or somebody will just miraculously cash at me some lunch money, or just cash at me like, thank you. So, and all of that time, or somebody would tag me in a post and write something, and I always would say, thank you, God, because he's showing me like, you're on the right path, hold on, you're doing it, whether positive is popular or not, you are making a difference. There are people who look forward to you, and it matters, and you matter. So I had a conversation with one of my friends, which is Thomas. He's a photographer, videographer, director. He did the Real Housewives of Potomac and stuff like that. So when I had a conversation with him, who he is also an entrepreneur, and I told him about that, and he was like, if you would have told me that during this whole time that you never felt like you wanted to quit, I would have told you to stop. He said, because if anyone does not have that moment where they've come so close to giving up, you know what I mean? It's all for nothing, because the fact that once you get to where you're going, the reward is going to be even greater. So that was some gems that he gave me regarding that. It is a lot of self-doubt. I do everything on my own, with me and God, but I do everything on my own, and I'm trying to develop everything. So I am the content creator, the producer, the editor, the filmmaker, the music, I do all of that. So I like it because it's making me well-rounded in so many areas, but it does cause a little issue, because when I want someone else to help me, I don't know how to let go of that control. Because I know what my vision is and I know what I want to do. So, and then people actually reach out to me with their personal stories. So now I'm in a place now where I want to get someone to run my social media, but people inbox me their personal stories and ask me for advice. And now I have to find somebody to trust to be able to have access to this information and say, sign this contract. You can't look here. You can't look here. You can't do this. I just need you to do this. Don't respond to a DM. Don't do anything. And I have to trust that. And we all know some people, when you tell them don't push a button, they're going to push a button. So instead of that, I'm just like, Lord, just give me the balance to be able to do it, or you'll send me the right person. So I haven't really had I haven't wanted to quit in a long time. And since my third year, I've come too far. So now I just entered my fifth season. And that's why I started naming them seasons, because I said that words have power. So that's why I always say, when you say being popular isn't, positive isn't popular, I'm like, stop saying that, because then you're going to constantly create that, and it's going to constantly get there. And that's a belief that's being created. So it's like that is very, very important, because if that's what we believe is what manifests and come true, because that's our personal belief, right? So with that, I have to drown out that, because I already know that people draw to negativity before they draw to positive. So now I have to rise above that and have to still show up on that, and trusting that my mission and my purpose, I found it, it's right. Overcome the fact that you putting content out and people seeing it, but they're not sharing it. You know what I'm saying? Or they double tapping it when they feel like it, or, people are, then I have to fight against that. And then I put it out there again. And then if it's something that someone really can't relate to, because we're all on a different level of consciousness, it's no action. on it, you know? So now I have to fight against that. So I have to fight against the non-engagement. Then I have to fight against my negative thoughts. Then I have to fight against the fact that y'all really don't want to create a space for this anyway. And it's like, oh my God, on top of all the pressure you're putting on to yourself. And then you out here putting money into something that's not even bringing you a lot of money or anything at all, but being grateful for the money that does come in, and also looking at that as, you know what, thank you God for showing me that it's possible and that it's possible. So when you're fighting against all of that, on top of, you know, going through a breakup or arguing with your wife or being a parent, and your kids feel like your business is more important than them, then that's another thing you got to do. So now it's like, oh my God, you get pulled in so many directions. So I cannot afford to stay stuck and feel like this is not going to work, because I'm going through all hell to make it work. So it got to work. It has to work. It's going. So you have to change that, and it's going to work, and it's working. I used to always say, I want my own show one day, and people were like, no, you have one. You have one. So then I changed that. So that's why one of my phrases when I get in those dumps or feel like I want to slack up is I will not give up before the miracle happens. That takes that ownership, and I get that power back. And when I hear that, and when I say that statement, it fuels me back up.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, for me, it's the gym, right? If them gym walls could talk, they tell you all my business. but no, like that's the way that I pour back into myself. That's the way that I go relieve some frustration. That's the way that, you know, I go in and just look at the wall sometimes, don't even lift weights. Because yes, you're right, man. Those tornadoes that go around in your head, and then the things that you're dealing with and you know, in your reality, then you still fight spiritually to maintain your focus and your perseverance. And you lose motivation.
Yeah.
Right. You even lose discipline. Don't, you know, what I don't want to set up, I don't want to set this false, or I want to address the false expectation that it's going to happen instantaneously, because it's not. It just simply is not. That's not the way that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you are going to experience, you know, if you know, you're going to experience tears, you're going to experience, you know,
people not showing up.
Yeah, you're going to find out how some folks truly feel about you.
The people who's supposed to support you ain't going to support you.
Right. And that's not going to feel the greatest, because, and, you know, some, you know, I even thought to myself, like, dang, like, I thought I was a good friend to you, or I thought I was a good business partner to you, or I thought I did enough for you, or I thought, you know, and you contemplate those things in your head, and, you know, you ultimately, the only thing you can do is let it be.
Yeah.
And when you get to that moment where you feel like you want to quit, like you said, I do believe everybody has that moment.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
But when you get to that moment where you feel like you want to quit and you're able to make it through that point,
yeah,
I think that's like the old you dying.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so right. That's why I hurt so bad. And in that moment, you are literally coming out of your old skin and you walking into
that new energy,
that new you, which is probably the reason why you don't feel like you have to, you know, you want to quit or like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But I got some. All right. So from the personal side of things, now, have you forgotten all about? I know you went through a breakup, right? What's that? We're going on almost 5 years ago.
For which one?
4.5 years ago.
Look, for which one? I'm free.
Say it loud.
I'm free, you know, until somebody is worthy enough for me not to.
Okay, so that's actually where I want to be. Okay. Now, because I know what it is to get so busy that you lose sight of your romantic life, right? Okay. And for me, that looks like avoiding my wife in some moments where I'm not even truly meaning to.
But you still have to be you. You know, you still are.
Sure. But it has to be balanced there, right? And I'm learning how to create that balance, but then also create boundaries on both sides. Yeah. Everything that comes along with that. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. We're gonna make it through it. But on this, you know, dating side of things, do you put, or excuse me, I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna say it the way the question was written. Now, these are called table topics. Okay. Now, apparently, so apparently these are topics that or maybe things that most couples or folks who are starting who are trying to become an entrepreneur find it hard to balance or manage.
Yeah, right? I gotta readjust, man.
All right. What is your biggest lesson learned out of your last relationship? And what is your biggest phobia of dating now that we are aware in our older years, right? We're in our 30s, so a lot of what we've grown out of, we're not willing to go back through, right? So as you take your time and particularly go through every analysis from each individual that you come across as a candidate, right? You're also thinking through the lens of, I'm not going to allow this to happen to me again, or I'm not going to allow that to happen to me again.
Yeah.
I want to know what those things are, but then also you're not going to allow this newer individual or the presence of this guy, whether it's all kinds of pixel butterflies or he turns out to be a stray stalker, right? But he can't jeopardize the dream.
Yes.
Right. So how do you manage, I guess I don't want to say measurement, but how do you manage your candidacy? The vacancy. Yeah, the vacancy. And how do you take on your candidates? Like how do you date?
Well, that's a lot.
Yes.
You just asked me a whole lot.
And you starting this off, right? The biggest lesson you've learned, because who you're going to date now is probably going to be, very different, or I don't know, hopefully healed.
Yeah, well, yeah, because if you don't pass the test, you don't learn the lesson, you're gonna get it again.
Right.
Just a different face, huh? This is.
Well, talk to me a little bit about that too,
because I'm usually the one asking these questions.
How important is it to learn that lesson, and what is that lesson that you had to learn?
Okay,
to make sure you didn't go through it.
Okay, so it's very important to learn lessons from every relationship, and I had to learn that. What I did learn in this last situation was it's important to put you first, regardless of what it looks like, whether it's going good or it's going bad. But when it's not going good, you have to put you first, and you have to make a choice. Your life is only going, and you're only dealing with things that you are allowed. Nobody is doing anything to you that you are not allowing. So I learned that what someone does to you has nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with them. So that's something I learned, and I'm glad that I had.
That's actually a big one. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh, it's very hard, but I'm so glad that that's one that I did learn, because I apply that to everyone, friend, family, and foes. I don't have a lot of time. So
obviously,
if I make time, you have to be a little bit of important. You know what I mean? So my time is the one thing we cannot get back. So it's once I discover that this is a waste of time, then we gotta go. I have to cut it off. So in order for me to pick a candidate, you definitely have to be worthy of my time. Worthy of me wanting to even fit you into my life and begin to have to build my business, consider your feelings, consider time with you, and do all these things, learn and get to build you. So I'm still learning and building my business. Now I'm bringing you over here to learn and build you, and you even worth that. Yeah, nice. It was nice. It was fun, but we done.
All right. So, and then I guess before I get to that next one, tell me, I guess, and I get I'm totally in line with the time part, right? But when you're dating, what is the one thing, I know that you learned that you got to make time for yourself. And I believe that's extremely important, right? You really do have to love yourself.
Yeah.
And that looks different from what your counterpart considers, right? Like how they think you should love yourself and how you truly should love yourself can totally look different.
Yeah.
But in terms of your business, right? How do you take the time? What is it that gets you to offer up the most precious commodity
Man,
time. What gets Candace to say when you stop focusing on my business, my daughter, I'm gonna give you these moments.
Yeah.
What kind of boxes does that person have to check?
Man,
and how do you have to think about it?
See, it's just weird because people show up pretending. So by the time I'm genuinely going to be me from the very beginning. So if you're coming in the door because, the one thing I can say I feel is the downer with my business, with me being a talk show, host and the personality, is that people try to use that to pick me apart, or they try to use that to learn me. Because I'm all about, motivational inspiration. And so they'll try to use those tools that I'm saying and forget about all the ones where you're going to be a topic. You know what I'm saying? Depending upon whichever the experience is. You're going to be a part of the good side or you can be a part of the bad side. That's all depending on how you act. Right. But my platform is based off of my personal experiences. I still tell my business all day. So it's like, with where I'm going with my life, I can't be dealing with somebody with infidelity issues, man. You know how quick they'd be ready to put me in the shade room or paparazzi, be clicking, and ready to be like, yeah,
I can't laugh. I got bronchitis.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I look at the avenue of what I want to do with my life and where I'm headed, and distinguish and weed out the foolishness, So
is it as easy as a DM for you though? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, do you pick? Because I got like 40, 50 DMs.
It's not. It's not that. It's like, they cheated.
No, I'm saying like no. What I'm saying, you don't know this yet. You don't know if they've cheated yet. Like this is they just getting to the door.
Yeah. So you have to. I pay attention to everything. So I'm listening to everything you say. Because I know you're gonna come with some stuff, right? Because we meet people where we are. So I'm not all the way together. But I know that the stuff that I'm gonna come with is not gonna be something that's gonna be detrimental to you. Mm-hmm. Might be a little stubbornness, might be a little, I ain't cooking, I ain't cleaning this. That's a shameless joke. But come from that area sometimes versus the area you're gonna come from. So I pay attention to everything. You tell me you're gonna call me back. If you don't call back, how do you talk about?
What does that say to a woman, right? Because I hear that from my wife, like you didn't read my message, my text message.
It's rude.
And I even like, so all right, so look, I think you sent this to our group chat for the Speakeasy show, and it might have been, what's this girl's name? Or maybe I seen this on Instagram. I can't remember, but Nene from one of these Atlanta housewives from the Brooklyn, whatever you call them joints.
Yeah.
All right. So she was on there saying, I'm gonna text you, and when I text you, you better text me right back. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, we got a problem. And I'm like, oh, okay, well then we got a problem because I might not see the text immediately.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'm trying to divorce my phone.
Okay.
So you might get a time gap. Right? Mm-hmm. Like some people are not understanding because I'm taking a stiff arm away from social media right now. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you might wonder why I haven't been there and been present. Right? I'm taking my moments away from that kind of reality at the moment. Right? And you might not get the text. I'm sorry. Like I'm trying my best to not only I told y'all a little earlier today, I'm learning how to run these businesses. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning how to structure myself. I'm learning how to block out time and pay full attention to that specific thing.
Yeah.
Right. And with everything that I have going on, it's very important that I learn this skill set. And I don't mean to offend anybody.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't mean to offend no one if I didn't get back to you immediately. But for those who know me, you know that I'm not a bad guy. I ain't never bit nobody's head off, and I ain't never just gonna give you a stiff arm for no reason. So if I didn't get right back to you, there was a reason, and it wasn't a negative one. It wasn't a negative reason.
Well, it's not like if you do that instantly, I have asked you. So my thing is, if you in the beginning, all I have is your word. We're getting to know each other.
Right, and that's the 2022, and loyalty that's a whole hour show. We ain't got a time.
But we're getting, I'm getting to know you. So I'm paying attention to what you say. I'm listening to the conversation that you have with me or maybe your friends and how you discuss women. You know, how you feel if you're using the B word and all that. I'm paying attention to all of that.
Sure.
And I'm most importantly, I'm paying attention to your character.
Those things change over the years. Like, it's crazy how fast they change.
Yeah, it can change over the years, but one thing that doesn't change, that is embedded in people, is their character.
Yeah, I believe
you know what I mean? Your character is your character. If you are a liar, and you just lie all the time, that is your character. Own your character.
You can change it.
You can, but it may not be with the person you lied to.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
right.
So you know what I mean? If you are a backstabbing person, that's part of your character with certain things. So it's just like you have to keep your word. I pay attention to how you talk. I pay attention to how you treat me. I pay attention to your thought process. Like, I'm very intrigued by thoughts. So I pay attention to your thought process. Are you a negative Nancy? Do you self-doubt a lot? Are you talking negative to yourself? But I'll meet people and they'll be entrepreneurs and they'll already be, they'll be, like I said, it's like they study me, dude. And then it's like, this is what I know I need to do to get in. But I already know you ain't gonna be able to keep up with it because I'm not doing anything to get in or to keep you in. I'm gonna be me because I'm not about to falsify these documents. And then you stuck with somebody and you're like, I didn't even know who you were. And it's like, well, this is who I was. So it's like I said, time and just what you do and how you treat people and how you talk and how you carry yourself. And it plays a big part on that for me. To be like, I'm gonna give you the time of day. I'm gonna deal with you because of you, not because of your money, not because of anything else. Because without all these things, once you do or we do or don't work out, life still gotta go on.
Yeah.
So if you're on an addition, you are a subtraction.
Yeah. And like, speaking of life going on, right? Like, as these things, as we talk about the dating portion of our success, on the flip side to that, time's still rolling. Time is still rolling. So let me ask you this. How much weight do you put on the word compromise in the manner in which you offer compromise, to compromising time for your business to give to other people, being strategic with your time, compromising some of your own values because of a worthy man? I know I'm treading in the dangerous territory here. All right.
Yeah.
Now, before you answer that, let me put my own sentiment in here.
Go ahead.
Now, this is where I would hope, Patrice would come in and vouch for me, but she's come in and she's offered some stability in my life. But there's also things that I came in to offer her as well. Yeah. But in order for me to be able to truly receive all of her greatness, and we're still changing for one another as we speak. And then in order for me to, to receive all of her greatness, I had to sacrifice some of the values I had made because of traumatic experiences in my past. And then she had to do the same as well. Right. And then there were personal experiences from our past just coming up out of our households that she had to let go of and trust me with. Right. Compromise. Yeah. Right. I know you were safe all those years and who you had become and how you got comfortable being that person. And you probably obtained some great goals and established, some real levels in that you. But now that I'm here, we always, like, have you ever heard the term, we got to make room? In order for things to come in and add to the value of whatever it is that's already there, something has to leave. Something has to leave. So when it comes to compromise for a new individual that may be entering your life, when do you and how do you analyze the areas in which you should compromise for him, for you, and for your business?
So I like my business because I can be as busy as I choose to be, and I can be have as much downtime as I choose to be. So first, I know myself. So first is I know what my love language is. So that plays a huge part because I go in the door and I tell. So even though I don't have a lot of time, quality time is my love language.
What is your love language?
Quality time.
All right, so quality time. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so quality time is my love language. So I'll let you know, hey, if you feel like I want to see you too much, or if I'm calling.
So you would compromise a lot of time for him from your business to get to.
Yeah, to because quality time is my love language.
Gotcha.
So, that's a plus. Quality time is my love language. So I'm already, people make time for what they want anyway, even if it wasn't my love language. Because I didn't always know that was my love language. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna make time for what I want. That's with anything. So I'll make time for that. Compromising, I can compromise depending upon what the compromise is, and that's going to be based off of how you're treating me. I'm not about to make all these compromises, but I'm really unhappy in this relationship. You know, I'm not about to compromise, and you have not yet to do anything that I cared for, or if there was an issue or something that came up, you haven't even fixed anything. So first of all, I'm going to see how I pay attention to how you handle problems with something that I may not like that you've done or you do, because then I'm going to see how it is. Are you going to handle my heart with care, or are you just doing what you want to do as long as you're getting what you want?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that's real. I mean, that's and especially if quality time. That's a good point too. When you got an entrepreneur, make your own schedule. You choose when to work on your business, and you choose when to give your time to someone you may care about in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
But those things are critical, because it's not always smart to sacrifice your time in certain moments or for certain individuals.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I picked that question. But then here's another one. All right. What's the correct way to communicate your needs in the dating season? Now, this is particularly important because us, as when we're still climbing, there's a certain portion of us we are not willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
They have to know that up front. Now, my wife, we're growing in that together, because we are just learning how much of us we have to give to our business, and we're still learning what that looks like for our marriage as we stumble into our success.
Yeah.
But in the dating scene, I'm imagining that, that's something that you have to strategically plan out. And it's not anything that you're growing with someone, but they could, you can give them grace, but then cut it off easy too.
Yeah.
So how do you communicate that with, and I guess, is it during the first 3 dates, or it can't be everything can't be all uptight on the first date?
I see, and me, I have the dating coach on my show. Shout out to dating coach in the club, and me and him bump heads about this all the time. He says you can't give everything up front, save some and all that. And I'm
on date one.
And me, I'm like, I gotta tell you, so you can know if you can waste your time or not. I'm like, get straight to the point kind of person when it comes to certain things. For me, one of the biggest things for me is, don't lie to me. No matter how small, big, hurtful, sad, don't lie to me. That is one of my biggest things. The other one, which is a no, is definitely got that cheating one. But the other one is, treat me how I treat you. Don't do to me what you don't want done to you. So it's do not, with you, I needing you to be honest, is don't ever take my choice away from me. So if you wanted me to be with you and you wanted to see other people or whatever it is, tell me that, because you never know what I may say. When you come in, and I feel like when you come in and you let people know what you're looking for, what it is you want, you aren't pretending, showing up, being something you're not, it saves a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
It saves a lot of time.
It does. Listen.
Right,
so this is my take. All right. And I can't tell you the way you're looking at that is wrong. So now I can't. I don't think I can. But, excuse me, as a man, if I was single and I was going on the first date, I don't want it to be that uptight on the first date. No,
it definitely would come. It wouldn't be like a first date thing, because I would like to say people have conversations throughout their time. So throughout conversation, I'm very vocal. So I've never been a person where you had to wonder how I felt or guess what I was thinking. I'm gonna say it. I've always spoke up for myself. So I'm gonna let you know. But in the midst of it, I'm not like, oh, you did something, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm gonna come in. I'm trying to talk to you and figure out why you did what you did. Not feeling like it's my fault why you did what you did, but understanding why you did what you did. My problem is I turn into like a teacher, and I start trying to teach.
How you teach? What you mean?
In the relationship, if this is true. He messed around, and I was like, he didn't know that I knew he messed around, right? So I was like, because you got
How long did you go without telling him?
Oh, it don't take long. So you know the process. And when I ask questions, I already know the answer to. I just want to see what you gonna say. So you know he messed with
my wife too.
Yeah, he messed around. So I was like, long story short, real quick. I was like, okay, are you happy in this relationship?
Fellas, pay attention. It's a setup.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you happy?
If they are initiating the questions.
Yeah.
In a strategic format, no matter what the format is. If it is in a line,
that's what
it is uniform. The questions are uniformed. You got a problem.
Yeah, I said, are you happy in this relationship? Yeah, I'm happy. You know, just said the third.
I knew that was.
I said, okay. I said, you sure? I was like, well, is there anything that is there anything that you don't like about me, or that you don't like about us that you would want to change or whatever? So he's like, he was like, no, like it's perfect. Like I don't have a problem. You don't do this. You know, you do all of this. And he was like, well, what about me? Anything you want to change with me or whatever? I was like, no, for the most part, you've been cool, whatever. So then it was like, you should. So how is the sex? Are you satisfied sexually? Is there anything you want to change? Anything? Oh no. Yeah. I said, okay. All right, cool. So you sure, right? Yeah. So who's this girl? And according to these messages, and according to this, and then according to this girl, and then according to, so it had become a ripple effect because it wasn't just one. So I already eliminated that I ain't the problem because you just told me I'm not the problem, right? So once I found that out, I didn't take it personal. I was like, yo, I'm disappointed. I'm not hurt. I'm disappointed because I'm disappointed that you weren't who you said you were. You couldn't be what you said you could be. So I started trying to teach, like, well, what is it that's going on with you that it's got to be something that makes you feel like you are not satisfied or nothing is enough. You know, what did your childhood look like? You know,
did you really get that?
Yes. Like I literally go that deep, and my life coach tell me all the time, like, these niggas is not your students. Like
I'm gonna tell you, man, like so, I don't normally get that, you know.
I got to, man.
I would love to be a fly on that wall.
Yeah.
I don't get into the drama, but just I've never seen a woman get that deep in a hostile conversation, right? Because that'll throw your mind loose. Like if you ask a dude like in the middle of him causing trauma, man, what happened? Like what's going on in your past to make you do this?
I didn't always do that, but that's because I know that it ain't me.
Right. You know, he was probably like, "Would you just ask me?"
Yeah, you know, outside of whether I had those facts or not, I just, you know, learning in life that we can't blame people for what they do. They doing what they doing because it's all they know how to do. That ain't my fault. I'm being the best version I could be. So
we got, what is it? 6 minutes left. I don't know if we can squeeze this last one in, but I want to. I'm gonna try. All right. Is it better to have loved and lost, or to never have loved before because it's just too much at stake?
No, I think it's better to love. You know, I don't believe in, you know, letting, because you didn't love me right, make me not let somebody else who may come and love me right.
It's when you get hurt, it makes you make a decision. Like it makes you make it like a, you know, it makes you okay. So when you have
to take ownership for the part you played.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah,
you do. But at the same time, like I don't know if that's a big one. It's because there's so much good that comes with love. I love my wife.
Exactly.
I love my family.
Exactly.
Right. And the reasons why I love them there's so many different reasons. I couldn't just tell you one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I couldn't just lean on one small moment. And for my wife, you know, she's just kind of come into my life and it's offered something that's just never been there before.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there are downs, there are lows, right? We go through things,
right,
but the good just outweighs the bad.
That's good.
Right. So when you weighing them, you're like, I don't like this, but this, she just comes through on her with her level of greatness on boom, 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 and boom. That just completely wipes out all of the negative, or makes you get in there and help manage her negatives with her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But to never have loved, I think you're doing yourself a disservice, because
if you never love, how you gonna know when somebody love you?
Right. For men, you don't know how safe you can feel when you are trying to lead, right? And I guess to put it in a sense where for a man to understand, when we got 1,000,001 things going on, one of the golden child feelings is when you got that one thing, you know you ain't got to worry about. All right, I know that's going to be there, so I can put that in the bag.
That's security.
That's security, and that is my wife.
Yeah, like I know she not gonna do that.
Right? I know that as hard as I'm fighting out here trying to start these businesses or trying to gain or manage or maintenance these relationships, whether that's business, friendship, personal, or whatever the case may be, I know my wife taking care of the house. Or if I'm out and I'm spread thin at the moment, I got a lot of engagements going on and I can't get quite home. So I'm in Virginia or I'm in DC or I'm in Baltimore, and then she's dropping Ryan off at practice or picking Jalil up from track.
Yeah.
You know, or got food ready for the kid, right? I didn't even know I was walking into a lo mein dinner last night. Okay. But I did, right? So those are the things where you can say, all right, I got that in the bag. But then when she comes in and starts helping you, not only with the things that you couldn't get to, but the things that you were weak at, that's a whole nother ball game, yo. Yeah. I'm telling you.
I said that on my show Wednesday. I said that people complain about women being so masculine, but a lot of times, a lot of the men, you're only strong because of the woman that's in your life.
That'll nurture you to greatness.
You know what I mean?
Because that is what she does for me. That's the reasons why I would say, you should love, because you should feel that security. Life is too goddamn, excuse me. All right. But life is way too hard for you not to have felt that safe in this day and age. 2022, social media, multiple different lifestyles, right? Turning into a whole nother you, culture changing you, this person changing you, business changing you. Yeah. But when you can go home, when you don't have a fire in the house, you got someone safe to cut it all off and go in the house and just watch. Yeah, man.
It makes a difference.
I'm gonna tell you, man, like watching, y'all gonna trip on me, but one of the golden things about my wife is I've sat here watching dating shows with her. What is this? Married at First Sight, 90 Days?
Married at First Sight, Couples Retreat.
Yo, a sip of wine on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night when you done been stressed with your wife at like 10:30, 11 before you go to sleep. Yo, like I'm telling you, those things are the things you should experience before you go. And measure them, weigh them. All right. Do I like these moments alone? Or do I like this better? Or do I like her improving my efforts alone? Or do I like her? Do
you even like stretching yourself for those who are single and do things?
Right.
How does it feel to stretch yourself that all of these different men and women are getting parts of you?
Yeah.
It's like, when do you say, let me give all of this to one person?
Yeah. Love might endure, but love definitely conquers all. And it is well involved with this business process. You love your dream. You love the individuals around you. Really wanted to put some light on that. We're getting ready to head out. It's 8:00. Thank you all for joining us. Again, we have Mrs. Candace White. Tune into her show, Candy Cody Secrets on Wednesdays night on Facebook Live.
And Instagram.
And it's
Candy with an I, not a Y.
With an I, not a Y. And Wednesday nights, 8:00, Speakeasy Show. Monday nights at 9. I will see you all in 2 weeks. Patrice will be back. And thank you all for joining the Conversation of Truths with Patrice Dunston and Ryan Dunston on Trivia Inspirational Radio.
Bye.